Since 2003, Total Air has been keeping Tampa Bay area homes cool with friendly service, skilled male and female techs, and easy online booking. Perfect for your hot Florida days.
Good to go?
Good to go.
Total Air, cool responsibly.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Sponsored by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power. And Total Air.
Hi, good Wednesday evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jason Adams, and as promised, I delivered instead of my Tampa Bay Lightning shirt that I was going to wear here on DPL always because it's a great shirt. It's the Stadium Series hoodie. I brought the cat one out. So many of you asked, and you shall receive. We had a little vote, an unofficial vote here last time I was on DPL, and I said, do you want the Tampa Bay Lightning one, or do you want this weird cat one that I found in my closet that I haven't worn in like 6 years? I think I got this during COVID, which one of the wacky things that came out of COVID. But for a weatherman and a cat daddy, why not? The only thing that would make this better, to be honest, is if it was a black cat because of my black cat ninja. Yeah, this guy's all right, though. But basically, it's the Armageddon kitty. There's volcanoes on the back side of this. He's got lightning coming out of his paws. And I was like, this is the weatherman of all weatherman shirts during COVID when we were all out of our minds. And this was one of my out-of-my-mind crazy COVID purchases. And I haven't worn it in forever. And I saw it, like I said, cleaning my closet. And I said, what do you guys think? And here we are. So, yes, this is the cat daddy shirt of this cat taking over the world and bringing Armageddon. So anywho, how are you guys doing tonight? How's your week been? My week's been pretty good. I've been here Monday and Tuesday this week. Of course, Dennis off tonight, so I'm filling in for him this evening. And boy, big storms in inland spots this afternoon. So coming up, we're going to talk radar. We're going to take a look at the live storms where they're at right now, who had some severe weather earlier today. A couple of warnings were also issued. We're also going to talk about an eclipse that's happening Thursday night into Friday morning. It's a partial lunar eclipse, and one that's not at 4 a.m. It's actually starting at 9, maximizes at midnight, and then ends at about 3 a.m. So a lot of us will be able to see it without having to lose too much sleep. We're also going to talk a little bit about El Nino and the hurricane season because we are watching a tropical wave out there in the Atlantic right now. And there's some good news with that, even though the forecast does bring it a little bit closer to the Caribbean now and also to the United States. Don't let that worry you, though, because I've got some good news to talk about with that one as well. Also, I have a very itchy back tonight because I had 2 abnormal moles removed. Thankfully, I got the results today. Non-cancerous, but my friendly reminder to you all, especially in Florida, and especially if you're a beach bum guy or gal like myself, get those skin cancer screenings as well. Thankfully, these 2 are gone and don't have to worry about them turning into everything. But man, the Band-Aids on my back have been driving me crazy. So I've been doing a lot of this in the studio while nobody's around and looking like a weirdo over in the corner trying to scratch my back without scratching the wounds so they can continue to heal. So anywho, that's my spiel. Let's welcome some of you tonight here. I've got my phone pulled up. Good to see you, Linda. Annie, good to see you, my friend. We got Homosassa Karen in the house tonight. Linda, no worries. You were expecting Dennis. He's always here this time of week. Let's see. We've got Aline. Good to see you. Good to see you as well, Linda. And Dominique, hello to you. Brooksville, Randy in the house. Hey, my buddies, the city of Winter Haven. It's the Duke of Doppler. He has come to bless us with his wisdom. Huzzah. You guys crack me up. I'm so glad you found me and I followed you all back. So thank you for the love as the Duke of Doppler stands in for whatever you call Dennis. I can't remember what it is. Let's see, Teddy, thank you. Appreciate the love for the hoodie. Kurt, good to see you. Nice shirt from Linda. Yeah, I told you guys, you're definitely going to like this one. It's definitely an odd one, that is for sure. I know Dennis and Greg have worn some odd things too. Greg did the whole headband and running thing that he did, and he looked like he was in like a 1980s workout video. So that was pretty great to see as well. Yep, Eric, this is the hoodie, my friend. You are late, but you are here with me, and this is the crazy hoodie. Great to see you in Sun City Center tonight, Michelle. And, oh yeah, Kurt, we could talk about the mudslides too. Crazy, crazy situation out in China and Nepal. And yeah, good to see you all. I think that's pretty much everyone. Rachel, good to see you from Clearwater. Deb, how are you? West St. Pete, Red in Gulfport. Good to see you all. Plant City, Lynn. Ooh, you got some rain in Plant City. That was my wonder. Are we going to see the rain making it far enough west tonight? If you watched during my 5, 6, and 7 p.m. newscast, we were talking about the rain that's out there right now. So let's do that. Let me pull up your radar for you. I'll stay in the box as well. And yeah, big storms today. Now all week, Monday, Tuesday, and then when I was here over the weekend, I was telling you guys that by the middle of the week, something's going to change. We're going to see some changes to this pattern that we've been locked in since about the 5th of August, which is the dreaded west and southwest wind pattern. And outside of last Sunday, where we got smoked here at the coast with widespread showers and storms, that west wind obviously not helping our drought at all whatsoever. But I did tell you that by the middle of the week today, we would start to see those changes. It takes some time, so it's not we immediately go from the west wind to the east wind and then we get rain here on the coast the very next day. It's going to take a couple of days for that to happen, but here's the changes that have happened. Notice that earlier, let me actually go back. We'll go 4 hours back on the radar. It might take a second for it to load, if it loads up all the data that I'm hoping it will. But the storms did start over on the East Coast today. So over on I-95 corridor, that's where the storm started. And instead of being stuck there because the west wind not allowing them to come over to our coast, we saw them moving west. That's number one sign that, hey, something's changing, because that has clearly benefited our inland spots. Clearly my radar doesn't want to go back 4 hours, so let's try 3. I think it'll get me 3 hours of data back there, and nope, not going to do that either. Well, I got another one here for you. I got multiple things that I could show you. I'll pull up this one here, and this one goes back 6 hours. So yes, clearly you could see the sea breeze on the Atlantic coast developed, and then everything was drifting west-northwest. That is a sign of what's to come. I don't think these storms make it all the way to the coast tonight, but if you're along I-75, I'm going to be watching them very closely for you to see if we can get these storms in your neck of the woods. But here's where they're at right now. Oh my goodness, we are lighting up with the lightning here earlier tonight along I-4. Great to see the rain making it in Lakeland. I was on the air talking about that earlier, saying I hope Lakeland, it holds together for you on I-4. From Polk City east, and specifically over toward, I can't remember the name of this road, but it's over by the Polk. Yeah, there it is, Old Grade Road. So this intersection of I-4 and Old Grade Road, and just south of here on Polk City Road, this is where the radar was estimating 1.5 inch diameter hail. The National Weather Service had the severe thunderstorm warning out there as well. I checked my page and Dennis's page. Not too many of you saying you saw that hail. This is a pretty rural part here, though, of Polk County, once you get away from the Auburndale vicinity. So if you did see some hail, that was that storm. Good news, the storm is not showing hail in it anymore. It's moving to the west-southwest, and now we're seeing it still along I-4 and also getting the rains like we talked about on Plant City a second ago from one of you mentioning that on the page. So yes, finally getting some rain in our interior spots where usually the west wind has also been helpful to you all by pushing the sea breeze and making the storms more widespread inland. That really hadn't been the case here for the last couple of weeks for you all as well. Now, what we're going to watch here, see this green line coming out from the storms. Highlight it right there, that green line moving to the west. That is an outflow boundary. It's rain-cooled air that gets pushed out from the thunderstorms, and it's moving into an environment that is much warmer than that rain-cooled air, 90 to 75. So usually this outflow boundary will trigger more thunderstorms on it. The problem is as the sun is setting, we're losing daytime heating, which is instability and fuel for these storms. So will they make it past I-75? I think we have a decent chance to get them close to I-75 if you're from Thanona-Sassa south to Brandon. Fingers crossed it holds together for you. It's going to be a tough call if it makes it all the way back west, because notice from Fort Meade south to Wauchula, there are still storms, but they're not as widespread and strong as the ones here along I-4. And then farther south, very spotty, very scattered, moving into Manatee and Sarasota counties right now, so I'm not sure if we're going to see those rains for you all. Here's where the rains currently are, winding down. Sebring south to Lake Placid, from Lake Istapoga south to Lake Placid. We had that severe thunderstorm warning earlier for you. Just some light to moderate rain left over now, and then along 17, we are looking at some light to moderate showers for you all as as well. So that's the setup tonight. The east wind is working its way back into the area, and it will eventually bring those rains back west to the coast. We'll talk about that up next here as we continue on DPL. Of course, if you're on the spot, Tampa Bay 66. We'll be right back in 90 seconds. All right, break number 1. Don't let me forget break number 2 and 3. Please and thank you, everyone. We got Eddie from Seminole tonight. Wendy from Scotland in Orlando. Loving this weather. Good to see you, Wendy. Welcome. Let's see. Working the weather office at TPA. Laura, good stuff. Keeping my sister is stuck in Dallas right now because of I can't remember what she said. It's a data issue or something like that. Not weather related at all. So hopefully these storms, if they do hold together and make it to Tampa, don't delay the inbound stuff. And my sister delayed even further. She's coming back from Vegas. Lucky. She's been in Vegas for 8 days now, 9 days now. Taking a nice, well-deserved break. We got to the 1-year point. Many of you know we lost my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, August 12th of last year. So the 1 year was here, and it was very difficult. So to get back to herself after the 1 year, she went to Vegas for 8 days. And I was like, I wish you would have taken me with you. But somebody has to work and pay the bills at my house. Ninja's not doing that. That is for sure. All right, about 30 seconds left in the break. I'll take a swig of water. Jody in Palm Harbor, good to see you. Dominique asks, what is a negative strike? It all is basically 13 seconds. It's the positive and negative charges that bring lightning bolts together. So that is part of it. Zephyr Hills, Tammy, good to see you. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And welcome back to all of you watching us on the spot, Tampa Bay 66. If you're watching me on streaming tonight, thank you so much for watching us here on Facebook. Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips off tonight, so you got me here through the rest of the evening, through the 11 o'clock as well. He will be back tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. We've talked about that here definitely in full. So let's talk about the outlook moving forward. Now, this is Thursday. Fast forward to tomorrow afternoon, and like today, we'll likely see some sea breeze activity, but we're not there fully with the southwest wind. You have to look at the atmosphere. All right, let's say this is a slice of the atmosphere. We're down here at the surface. This is 25,000 feet. The wind here at the surface is still out of the southwest, but upstairs, it's out of the southeast, which is why we're seeing tonight's storms being pushed back to the west, even though here at the ground, we still have the southwest wind. So as we go to tomorrow, it's going to be more south on the ground, still southeast aloft, and then from Friday into the weekend, ground, upper level, all moving southeast. That brings all those showers and thunderstorms back west to our coast. So there's your science lesson here for this weekend, which is why I don't think we have the widespread rain threat at the coast tomorrow. Notice more inland favored again. That's good news too, because again, that's a sign that things are finally changing and getting back to normal. And if you're new to DPL or new to our area, what usually happens in Florida in the summertime is that we see our winds out of the east or southeast. And these east and southeast winds give us our daily strong to severe thunderstorms. You can count it like clockwork, 4, 5, 6 p.m. We've got thousands of bolts of lightning on our coast and tons of rain, and that gets us out of our dry season drought very early in the season. It's not happening. Last 5, 6 years, Heather and I talked about this over the weekend, that something has changed. And I'm not going to get into the climate change debate with you guys. Believe what you want. I don't really care. But I do want you to know that there are things that are changing out there. And that change is that this west wind and this southwest wind is now more prevalent than it's been, I think, ever. And we've had multiple consecutive years now where we've been in drought in the summer because of that west wind. So what the west wind does, it pushes everything over to the east coast. So all the heavy rain shifts over to the Atlantic side of the state. And this area here, they get what we usually get when we have the west wind pattern and what we've been seeing all summer. So starting Friday into the weekend, that is going to change. We're going to get our normal wind pattern back. It's going to stick around through the weekend and the early part of next week. And that means that the best rain chances set up along and west of I-75. So we'll definitely get some drought relief here. But yeah, something's going on because we have not been locked into a pattern where we've had extreme drought. It's happened before. So that's why, again, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on what you believe or what you don't believe. We've had droughts in the summer before, but what we're seeing now is that we're consistently having drought in summer. It's our rainy season. We get up to 50 inches a year of rainfall here in our part of Florida, and the bulk of that falls from June to early October, and we're not getting that. And we haven't gotten that in the last few years. Is El Nino playing a part of it? Sure. El Nino is definitely going to help us out here coming into the winter months, though. So we've got some good news to look forward to. By the way, Greg and I, Greg is a total nerd, and he'll admit it, and he has all the data, more data than I'll ever use in my life, but he is the data guy. He is the guru here. And he pulled up all this stuff when I was working with him last week, and it was kind of, when you have a bunch of models that produce possible outcomes for you, we call it the ensembles. So it's hundreds of models in the data, and each one of them gives you, based on what they're thinking El Nino is going to do, gives you an output. And we were looking at the latest output, and it shows a huge amount of rain potential for us from December to March. That is so El Nino, that is so typical El Nino, but the amounts that it was showing were, Greg and I both were like, if this verifies, this would be the craziest thing that we've ever seen. Now, you probably heard that this El Nino is going to be one for the record books. We know that. It's been forecast forever. We're seeing that happening as El Nino is beginning to build out into the Pacific. We know this is going to be a doozy. Now, does that mean severe weather? Does that mean a ton of rain? The models are certainly projecting that. And some of the data, I don't want to let you guys know the amount, because people are going to run with it and say, Jason called for this amount of rain. That's not what I'm saying. But it just blows my mind, and Greg's mind too, that the models were showing 30 to 60 inches of rainfall from December to March here in West Central Florida. Absolutely mind-blowing. If we get 15 inches of rainfall from December to March, that's mind-blowing, right? So the models going that high, that to us suggests that we're going to have a very active jet stream over top of us with multiple storms that are going to continue to just basically like a train on the train tracks. One goes out, the next one in the Gulf comes our way with another round of showers and storms. That's what the models are showing now. Will it happen? It's 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. Nobody knows, but that's what we're saying right now. Don't go tell everybody that Jason at Tampa Bay 28 said we're going to get 60 inches of rain from El Nino this winter. That's not what I said. But the fact that the data is showing that alone, and if it doesn't even verify, the fact that the data even suggested it is mind-blowing because of the time of year, December, obviously, and on. All right, break number 2 coming up. If you're watching on the spot, Tampa Bay 66, quick talk about Tropics. Then we're going to switch over to the eclipse that happens here tomorrow night into Friday morning. We'll be right back. All right, break number 2. Ooh, Anita saying the dark clouds are moving east into Brandon. Fingers crossed we can hold that radar together and bring all that rain toward Tampa. I got rain Sunday, as everybody did, of course. Everybody got a ton of rain Sunday. But prior to me getting rain Sunday, I hadn't had rain in 8 days. So in the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 days of rain in August, which is one of our rainiest months. Over it. I'm over it. I know you guys are over it too, because you're tired of me talking about the lack of rain and the drought and the water restrictions and all that good stuff. So that's where we're at. All right, let's see. Yeah, Laura, crazy, right? 30 to 60, absolutely insane. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's see. Lynn asking, lived in Florida. Will we have a summer? What is the amount of wind to be concerned about? Linda, it just depends on the type of season, the type of storms that we get in the wintertime. Are we going to get the severe weather? Are we going to get the last major El Nino event that we had was, of course, 98, 99, and that was when the tornado killed 42 people in Kissimmee. We had those overnight tornadoes. That was a very strong El Nino. Not saying that that's what's going to happen this year, but that's what we need to watch out for, with this one potentially being even more of a threat with El Nino and what El Nino brings. So definitely going to be watching that very closely here as well. Let's see. Yep, Colby, we're going to talk about that, about Dolly. God love her. So sad. I can't believe that. My dad is one of the biggest Dolly fans. Welcome back if you're watching us, by the way, on the spot Tampa Bay 66. Dad was very, very upset when I texted him yesterday and told him that Dolly had passed. So it's not going to be the same. And I think the world can agree, and I say the world because she was a global superstar. She was like one thing, especially here in the United States, because we all can't agree on anything anymore. Everybody loved Dolly Parton, and left, right, up, down, religious, not religious, it didn't matter. Everybody loved Dolly Parton because Dolly Parton loved everyone. And she even talked about it. She was like, they asked her, they were like, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And she's like, what does it matter? It's my choice, and that has nothing to do with anything. And I love that because politics is so polarizing right now. So yes, gonna miss Dolly. Prayers and thoughts to her family and all of her loved ones that are dealing with this massive loss in her family too. All right, let's get to the tropics now. This is why we're talking about potentially Dolly, because the next named system on the map is Dolly. So ignore that 60%. I'll try and put it like right there. There we go. So yeah, that's the tropical wave that we've been watching for a few days now. Now, Dennis probably talked about it on DPL. I talked about it this week as well. We were looking at two potential paths for this system even before it came off of Africa. One was to curve it back out into the Atlantic. That would be going in this direction. The other one was taking it to the west. Now, obviously, the more west one is the one where you get concerned about. Good news, though. It is now trending to go more west. The good news with that, even though that's not what you would think would be good news, is that, oh, wow, we've got a ton of upper level wind shear that is likely going to allow this system to not get any stronger than a depression or a storm. So good news for the Caribbean, and most of the models that bring it west now, they bring it to about, let's see, let me find something else to circle this with. We'll do to about right here is where they bring it. And that's how far the models go out at this time. Most of the models don't bring this below 1,000 millibars, which if we were to see a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane, you'd have to get sub 990. None of them are showing 990 or below. They're 999, 1,003. Normal atmospheric pressure is 1,013 millibars. So that's great to see. The models are not forecasting this to be any kind of a wicked system. Never say never in the tropics, and I know Dennis says that almost every season, multiple times. He's basically trained all of us to say the same thing with that too. But yeah, this is looking great. And then behind Dolly, we've got multiple waves, obviously, still coming in off of Africa. So clearly the season's not over yet. Look at all that activity here just south of the desert. That's what's going to be moving out over the next few weeks. And of course, heading into September, that is the peak of hurricane season. September 10th is the peak of the hurricane season. That's when we see the most activity over the last 150 years of record keeping. So we're not done by any stretch. We still have the majority of the season to go through, but all things are looking good at this point. And let's keep our fingers crossed that September and October be very nice to us like they were last year, because of course, September and October the year before, not even going to talk about it because you guys know what I'm talking about. So that's what that is all about. All right, taking break number 3. This is break number 3, right? I did 2. I did 1 and 2. I'm going to wait till you guys confirm break number 3. Let's see. Wait for it. Somebody comment. Break 2 or 3. I should start keeping, like, I need a tally ticker thing over here to make sure that I'm not doing it. All right, nobody's commenting. Somebody comment. I'm just going to do it. We'll be right back if you're watching on the spot, Tampa Bay 66. All right. That is break number 3, hopefully. All right, so now I'm going to get this set up to, I'm going to get off camera here in a second, and we're going to talk about the eclipse coming up. Are you guys big eclipse people? I like the solar eclipses more. And of course, I think it's in 2041 or something like that. We're going to have a total solar eclipse overhead, which means we get to see the corona around it when the moon completely blocks the sun. We don't have to travel anywhere for it. It's going to happen right here in Tampa Bay. Ooh, I cannot wait for that. That's going to be fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yes, break number 3. You are confirming that we are getting to break number 3. Let's see. The city of Auburndale said, who can we yell at for naming something so devastating after Dolly? I was telling the team yesterday that if it does become Dolly, it's going to come through, it's going to go to Puerto Rico and give them some drought relief, because that's what Dolly would do. She would say, I got you, Puerto Rico, here's some rain. And then she's going to come up to Tampa Bay with 35, 40 mile per hour wind gusts and say, you guys have worse storms in the summer than this. I'm going to take care of your drought as well. Here's 10 inches of rain, because that's what this storm would do, being that it's named Dolly, and Dolly would not cause destruction at all whatsoever. Just going back and seeing all the things that Dolly did, of course, after the Gatlinburg fires, the amount of books that she's brought into the world for kids who don't have books. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and we're back on the spot, Tampa Bay 66. We're talking all things Dolly. We love Dolly. But even here in Polk County, over 200,000 books, I believe, she brought to reading centers here in Polk County. So she's touched almost every part of the U.S. with her generosity and her donations. And I mean, just amazing, amazing woman. And she will be missed. All right. I think you guys want to talk a little bit about the eclipse now, so let's do that. We've got a partial lunar eclipse that's going to be happening here in a couple of days, and I'm going to put this on the full screen for you, and I've got the times written down, what this is going to look like. Now, this is a partial, so it's not going to be a total one where the moon is completely blood red, the entire moon being covered up by the Earth's shadow. So this is what it's going to look like. This starts at about 9:23. You won't notice a lot happening at 9:23 as the Earth's outer shadow begins to slowly move across the moon's surface. The Earth's inner shadow, that's the umbra, that's the one where the moon really starts to get dark. That happens roughly at around 10:30 Thursday night. Then as we go to 12:12, that's when we're going to get the most amount of the moon's surface covered by the Earth's shadow with the Earth's inner shadow, that is when we're going to be at our maximum. So that's what it's going to look like. Let me fast forward it just a couple more minutes. Right there, 12:10, 12:11, 12:12. That's the amount of the moon's surface that's going to be covered. So yes, you will still see the moon is going to be covered in that red hue. It's just not going to be the total lunar eclipse. And this one's not going to be as red as those totals because we'll still have a little bit of white showing up on the north part of the moon. And then after the maximum, it'll last for about 45 minutes or so. And then we're going to go out of the moon's surface. We're going to move the shadow here. So by the time we get to about, say 1:45-ish, we'll see what this pause is at here. I think it's about 1:45 to 2 a.m. That's what it's going to look like as the outer shadow is now what's left on the moon's surface. So the red goes away, it starts to brighten up, and then the Earth's far outer shadow, that one's going to get out of the way at 3:01 as the eclipse ends. So again, going back to the maximum, this will be nearly covered. I believe it's about 90% of the moon's surface is going to be covered by this. So it's not going to be one of those situations where you're not going to see a lot, or it's going to be just a little fraction of it covered up. The whole moon's basically going to be covered up with a little tiny sliver on the north end of the moon. That will not. So that's why it's called a partial eclipse. And that's happening Thursday night. And again, timing wise, starts at around 9:15, maximum around 12:15, ends at about 3:15. It's a 6-hour event for us as we go into your Thursday night and Friday. So that's what we're looking at here for the eclipse. Looking pretty good. All right, yeah, that will be again Thursday night into Friday morning for those of you asking what time. And yes, all right. The other thing I want to talk about now is that insane video that came out of Nepal and China today. The show here on DPL on the spot ends in 3 minutes. So if you want to continue the conversation, I'm staying on Facebook until my stomach rumbles enough for me to stop and go get my dinner. Absolutely insane. I don't have any graphics to show you to explain it. I didn't prepare for that, so I'll do my best to just explain what happens. When you have these mountains like the Alps and the huge mountains between Nepal and China, of course, places like Mount Everest or the Swiss Alps, there are glaciers on top of these mountains. And as the Earth warms and these glaciers melt, they're sitting basically on top of space beneath them that fills with water. Like it's just space that used to just be ice, and now it's just filling with water, filling with water, and filling with water as these glaciers continue to melt and melt and melt. When the glaciers are put up next to not a very decent strength mountain, it's hard to explain, a weaker part of the mountain, when that water accumulates, it's heavier. The ice is still there from the glacier, it's heavier, and then that part of the mountain, that fragile side of the mountain breaks off, and it's almost like a dam breaking. So let's talk about Hurricane Katrina when the levees broke in New Orleans. And we saw all that water rush in and fill everything. Well, imagine that happening with a huge glacial lake 15,000 feet up on the side of a mountain, and all that water now is coming down these 15,000 foot slopes, and eventually they get into the canyons where more people live in the 7,000, 8,000 foot levels where it's not going to be frozen solid all year round. There are places there that obviously do a lot of tourism on the mountains between Nepal and China. And these canyons are very narrow. So when you put a high volume of water in a narrow canyon, it causes the height of that to rise. Almost look at that like our storm surge at our coast. So here's the surface of the ocean. Here's the surface of the Gulf. All right, let's try it like that. So it's slanted a little bit, and then here's the surface of the water. When all that water is being pushed onshore by the surge, it can only go one place when the space is getting smaller and smaller, and that's up, and that's why the surge goes on land. So it's the same thing when this water came cascading down the mountains and it got into these narrow canyons that have a trickle river that usually flows through them. There was no place for that water to go but up. So we're talking about some of the heights of this massive surge of water, 100 feet high, and people had no place to go. And unfortunately, the death toll is already insane. It's just going to get higher and higher and higher, unfortunately, because there was no escape for a lot of these people. They didn't have any warning. I don't think there's a warning system for when a glacial lake breaks and you've got 100 feet of water cascading down the mountains. And you saw how fast it was moving in the videos, right? It had to be moving 60, 70, 80 miles per hour down the mountains because, again, water, as we know, is heavy. All right, bye, spot Tampa Bay 66. I kept talking and I forgot to say my goodbye there, so I think it just cut me off on the spot. One day I'll get it, you guys. I've been doing DPL here for Denis for years now. One day I'll eventually get the times right. So anyway, back to that. So that's what happened. Gravity caused the water to accelerate. The weight of the water caused it to accelerate. This has happened before, but I've never seen video like we've seen before. Like I said, there was some building on the video that I saw on X today that was at least 100 feet high. It was a huge building. It had multiple stories to it. And when the wall of water hit it hit it all the way over the top of this building. And you saw poor people running in front of the building trying to escape it. I guess they heard it, or if they did have a warning, I don't know if there's a warning system in place. They were gone because a 100-foot wall of water hit this building, and that destroyed the building and everything downstream from it as well. I can't imagine the fear, the terror that these people must have experienced. And the only thing you can do is try and go up the side of these mountains and some of those canyons there. It's literally like on this much of an angle, and they're very rocky. So you grab a rock, it falls, you fall with it. So I just can't imagine the amount of fear and terror that those people had to deal with. And I imagine that this is probably going to be, if there's not a warning system in place, kind of like the 2004 tsunami in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean, I should say, more so the Indian Ocean than the Pacific. We have a tsunami warning system, obviously, in the Pacific and the Atlantic, but there was not one in the Indian Ocean at the time of the Sumatra earthquake. That killed 225,000+ people, 250,000 people that day, because there was no system in place to warn other countries that, hey, we felt that bump in the ocean, there's probably a tsunami coming. And a tsunami warning system is now in place in the Indian Ocean. So I'm hopeful that if there's not one there to prevent a disaster like this in the future, you'll never be able to prevent it, but to hopefully the loss of life, to minimize that they would get some kind of a warning system, maybe a siren system like we have in the Midwest and the plains for the tornadoes. Maybe that, because you saw the video too, it was sunny outside. They weren't getting days of rain. This wasn't a weather-related event where torrential rains in the high mountainous terrain is leading to this. It wasn't anything like that. It was a sunny, beautiful day, and then all of a sudden you turn around and there's a 50 to 60-foot wall of water moving at 80 miles per hour coming down this ravine at you. So again, just unbelievable. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I did want to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about how it happened, why it happened, and while it wasn't a weather-related event pertaining to heavy rain, technically it was weather related because of the melting glaciers that we're seeing out there all across the globe. So that's what that story is. All right, anything else you guys wanted me to talk about tonight? Let me get back. Let's see, we did the eclipse, so I'll go ahead and come back to the studio shot. Let's see, let's grab that one there. Yeah, I think that was, I think I actually did it. I think I covered everything I was going to talk about in that short amount of time. Let's scroll down the comments. Ooh, let's go back to the radar. See where those storms are and if they're making it to I-75. Come on. They're having a hard time doing it. All right, let me pull the radar back up. This is what my gut was telling me, that it's going to kind of slowly hit a wall here. We're getting close, though. I mean, look at Plant City right now. Lakeland, Plant City, loving it. You love to see it. Almost down to the Lithia Fishhawk area. There's the outflow boundary. You see that little thin green line? I'll point it out because it is a little hard to see. That guy right there. That's the rain-cooled air, and it is just now about to move to I-75. Storms develop on it, and then they move back to the east. That's what we're seeing with the radar shot. So will it make it to Tampa? If I was a betting man, I'd say no. But I'm a weatherman, so yes, we're wrong. We're not always right. So hopefully I'm wrong about this guy tonight. Let's go south. Yep, 17, it's crossed 17. Yep, like I said, I didn't feel too confident that it would make it to the coast here, Bradenton, Sarasota. So inland spots, maybe if we're lucky, Lakewood Ranch along the Manatee River. Hopefully getting a little bit of rain east of 75, and then up north. Yeah, pretty well. It looked decent about an hour ago from Lake County into Sumter. There's the outflow boundary for you in the Nature Coast right there. So it's just now past 75. We'll see if we can get any more development. But now we are at the part of the day that we are looking at less instability, less kinetic energy for these showers and thunderstorms to keep going. So good news. Some of you inland got some rain today, and this is a sign of things to come as we continue into the weekend, the end of the week into the weekend, that a lot of that stuff that's not making it to the coast tonight, it is going to start making it to the coast as we head into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even into Monday and Tuesday. I've got high rain chances all the way through. All right, let's see. Let me go back up. Make sure I didn't miss any awesome comments from you guys before I call it a night here on DPL. Oh, yeah, that's right. Tim Curry, Eric, I forgot. We've had a couple of days have been terrible. My first introduction, I believe, to Tim Curry was Home Alone 2. I think it was one that, yeah, he was in New York, right? And then my parents introduced me when I got a little bit older to him in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then what other things was he in? He was in a bunch of things. Can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, another hard loss for the world to not have him here either. All right, let me see. Oops, I lost the comments. I hit something. Oh, I was doing so well with the comments, and now they're all gone. Let me see. And now that it's only gonna let me pull up like 5 comments now. Let me see if I can do something else here to get the comments up. I was doing so well tonight, and I just lost everyone. Let's see, go that way, go that way, go that way. Nope, not happening. All right, well, sorry guys, I missed some of your comments. Judith, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Janet, good to see you. Let's see, she says, helping the husband, I have 2 black eyes, so at least I can hear you. Not sure what that meant. Jody, thank you. Yep, Laura, like we were just talking about, yep, that outflow boundary does look to be slowing down, unfortunately. Ooh, Pennywise, yes. Thank you. Who mentioned that? Because that comment just went away too. I don't know why this comments aren't staying up. Somebody said that Tim Curry was Pennywise. That he was. And it. Yep, Natasha, you said it too. Thank you. And then we're doing the Time Warp, Brilliant and Clue. Muppet Treasure Island. Yeah. Ugh. Hopefully this is it for this year. And to have these 2 icons back to back, it just makes it even harder, right? All right, guys, Dennis will be back tomorrow night. Thanks again for hanging out with me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the shirts. Again, this was my crazy COVID purchase, and I saw it, and I'm a cat daddy, and I was like, this is amazing, so I'm doing it. Oh, let me show you the back, because I think there's volcanoes on the back, too. And that's a hoodie and all. So that's the shirt. I can't even tell you where to get it online if you want one, because again, this was when I was out of my mind, stuck at home, working from home in COVID. Man, it was a year and a half that I got stuck at home. And then the following year, when the restrictions were lifted and we were allowed back into the building, it was to do the evening shows, because there was a risk that lightning knocks me off air at my house and I lose my Wi-Fi and then I can't get the forecast. So mornings I was still at home, and then evenings I was staying at the house because I do doubles on the weekends. So I was Saturday, Sunday morning here, and then Saturday, Sunday night at home. Yeah, don't miss those days. I do miss the not having to drive because traffic is just amazing here in Tampa. 45 minutes to get to work yesterday. Were you guys stuck in that too, by the way? I come in from the east. Lauren St. Germain comes in from the north. Both of us missed our 9:15 recording deadline yesterday morning for our streaming channel because of traffic. It was a nightmare area-wide. I've never seen a morning rush so awful in my life here in Tampa before. And then going home, it was like 30 minutes. And that's the one that's always supposed to be the nightmare one, right? Everybody leaving out of town to Tampa. So let's not do that again, Tampa Bay, because that was a disaster. But that's what I do miss from COVID, is not having to deal with that, because as we know, after COVID, Tampa exploded, and now traffic is all but between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m., and that's only on Saturday and Sunday morning. All right, guys, thanks again for hanging out with me tonight. Not sure when I'm back in for Dennis. I am going to be filling in a lot more on the mornings moving forward for Greg. We have a lot of community shows that he's going to be out, which means I got to come in and do the 4:30 a.m., the 5 a.m., and then he picks up at 6 a.m. wherever he's at his community shows. So I don't think I'm scheduled for Dennis for a good bit of time. But if you like me, if you want to follow me when I'm not here on DPL, here's my channels. Meteorologist Jason Adams on Facebook, on Instagram, the Florida Beach Bum, and Tampa Bay Weatherman is where you can find me on TikTok. I haven't been posting anything at the beach because, again, if you missed it at 7:30, we were talking about I had 2 spots removed from my back, suspicious moles that were abnormal. They are not cancerous, thank goodness. Not getting in the water, though, until these suckers heal up because, yeah, Vibrio, not trying to deal with that. And unfortunately, we've had several cases in Hillsborough County. This year, I think the latest that I saw was up in Bay County. Somebody contracted it up in the Panhandle, Panama City area. So if you've got any open wounds, do not get in our waters, especially the brackish waters of the bay, where fresh water is going in. That seems to be where the hot spots are in the brackish water, more so in the full salt water. But either way, not going to do that. But on the Florida Beach Bum account, you can see all of my beautiful, lovely pictures from the past. Oh, I will be in 2 weeks going to mom and dad's up in Destin, so I will be posting some content from up there. My back should be healed by then. So that'll probably be the earliest that you'll see any more beach content and drone content as well. So anywho, guys, have a great night. Thanks again for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time.